All right, you know how the rap world can go 0 to 60 faster than a Lambo? Last year, it absolutely detonated.
Oh yeah, an epic feud.
Totally. Drake and Kendrick Lamar right at the center, but it sucked in Future, Metro Boomin, Rick Ross, The Weeknd. Even J. Cole got pulled in for a minute.
And it wasn't just, like, some angry tweets. We're talking serious lyrical warfare, accusations flying, tracks getting leaked. The whole industry seemed to react.
What's wild is, while it felt sudden, maybe, you could argue the tension, this whole question of who's really at the top in rap, that's been building up for years, right?
Definitely. It wasn't just about bragging rights. This felt like a real public fight for cultural dominance in a super competitive space.
Exactly. So the spark that really lit the whole powder keg, it seems to be Kendrick's surprise verse on that first Future and Metro Boomin album, We Still Don't Trust You.
Like that.
Yeah, like that. You
Right.
heard it. It wasn't subtle, was it? It felt like a direct challenge, specifically to Drake and J. Cole.
He straight up questioned that whole big three concept.
Totally.
Yeah.
And basically said, forget that, I'm the one on top.
And when someone with Kendrick's weight throws down like that, I mean, it puts immense pressure on the guys he called out. He wasn't just rapping lines. He was shifting the narrative, challenging the hierarchy.
Are you kidding? You have to respond, right?
Especially if you're Drake. Interestingly, J. Cole actually jumped in first with 7-minute drill.
He did, yeah, but
Then, incredibly fast, he pulled it back, actually went public saying, you know, Kendrick's great, basically bowing out.
which left Drake holding the bag, really. The main target.
And you gotta remember, this whole thing blew up while Drake was on tour. That adds a whole different kind of pressure, doesn't it? Trying to craft a response while you're performing every night.
Oh, absolutely. Touring is exhausting as it is, and then you've got this massive lyrical battle erupting, putting you on the defensive in the court of public opinion. The story was already starting to form.
And it wasn't just Kendrick on that album taking shots.
Right, the whole We Still Don't Trust You project felt like, well, like a united front almost. You had Rick Ross on there, and he definitely seemed to be siding with Kendrick. Then The Weeknd's got background vocals, but also drops this line everyone took as a sneak diss at Drake.
And Future himself, even on a track before that album, had lines people were already saying were aimed at Drake.
Yeah. And then later on that same album, ASAP Rocky jumps in with a pretty direct shot, too. It felt like sides were being chosen, you know?
The fact that so many artists, including some who'd worked closely with Drake before, were aligning like that, it really amplified the feeling that something was shifting. It painted this picture of Drake maybe being a bit isolated, challenged from multiple angles.
Right. And Drake, who'd already gotten some flack for his last album For All the Dogs and had mentioned focusing on health, suddenly he looked kind of backed into a corner.
It's interesting timing.
Yeah, and his quick follow-up project, Scary Hours 3, which was much more bar-heavy, lyrically focused, that really felt like a reaction, didn't it? Like he felt the pressure to prove he still had those lyrical chops.
It definitely seemed like a move to reassert his core skills, remind people what he could do lyrically, maybe push back against that narrative.
It's fascinating how that external pressure, what people are saying online, can shape what an artist puts out next.
Absolutely. That need to control your image and standing in such a competitive field.
Okay, so things heat up. Drake's first real response, it actually came out as a leak first. Remember, drop and give me 50.
Oh yeah, the early version of Push-Ups, that leak was something else.
It really was. The audio quality was kind of rough, and the vocals sounded almost robotic.
Very stiff.
Which immediately kicked the rumor mill into high gear. Was it AI? Was it like a reference track from a ghostwriter? It just added this whole weird layer of mystery before the official version even dropped.
The leak itself became part of the drama, you know?
Yeah.
It built anticipation, but also allowed for all this speculation, which is so typical of how these things play out online now. Raw info spreads like wildfire.
Totally. So then a few days pass, and boom, the official Push-Ups hit streaming platforms. Drake's officially in the ring.
And he came out swinging. Sort of.
He definitely aimed at a lot of people. Future got hit, with Drake kind of reminding him about their past work together, even mentioning helping Future get his first #1. Felt a bit like, don't forget who helped you.
That seemed to be the strategy, yeah. Undercut his critics by pointing out past favors or collaborations, maybe imply some disloyalty there.
Right. Then he goes after Rick Ross, brings up some alleged issues Ross had with booking shows overseas, and even wades into personal territory, mentioning a shared romantic interest.
Which always adds fuel to the fire.
Always. And then the Kendrick jabs, mocking his height, his shoe size.
Yeah, the shoe size thing was a choice.
Right. And his album sales, bringing up Kendrick's collabs with pop acts like Maroon 5 and Taylor Swift, it felt like he was digging for anything. And some of it felt a little personal, maybe below the belt for some.
That shift to really personal attacks definitely marked an escalation. Lyrical sparring is one thing, but bringing in physical stuff, old pop features, it felt like a different tactic, maybe trying a bit too hard to undermine Kendrick's image.
And he wasn't done. Push-Ups also took aim at The Weeknd's manager and his crew. And then came that really controversial line referencing Kendrick's fiancée, Whitney. That crossed the line for a lot of listeners.
Yeah, bringing family into it,
Yeah.
that almost always backfires. It can shift public sympathy pretty quickly and just make things uglier.
You're totally right. Probably wasn't the smartest strategic move, looking back.
Agreed.
And then, okay, that line aimed at Metro Boomin. Metro, shut your hose up and make some drums.
Huh. Yeah, that one took off.
Didn't it? It became this huge thing online. Metro himself flipped it, made a beat out of it for a rap challenge. Talk about turning a diss right back around.
That's a perfect example of how these things spiral online, right?
Yeah.
An aggressive line becomes a viral moment, gets remixed, shows the power of social media and all this.
And get this, the track actually sampled DJ Academic's voice.
Yeah, that was another choice that got people talking.
Really divided folks. Some thought it was funny, part of the messy drama. Others felt it was just unnecessary, maybe drag things down.
It definitely blurred the lines, didn't it? Bringing in a media figure known for commenting on the beef right into the beef itself. Very meta.
What's super interesting, though, is that leaked version, Drop and Give Me 50, apparently had a whole third verse that got cut from the official Push-Ups.
Oh, really? What was in that?
Well, reports said in that verse, Drake mentioned J. Cole still being part of his big three, even after Cole bowed out.
Ah, interesting.
And he supposedly accused Kendrick of having a diss track aimed at him just sitting there, ready to go, for years. Can you imagine holding on to something like that?
Wow. Okay, that adds another layer. If Kendrick really was prepared for this for a long time, it suggests this rivalry was simmering way deeper, and maybe Drake knew it. Even putting that in a draft verse is revealing.
But look, when Push-Ups finally dropped officially, despite Drake trying to come out strong, reclaim control, a lot of people felt it was, well, kind of underwhelming.
Yeah, the reaction wasn't universally positive.
Some even called it a miss, especially when you stack it up against what Kendrick dropped later. Those responses were lethal.
Agreed.
But Push-Ups definitely set the stage, right? It showed Drake was engaging, but maybe it wasn't the knockout blow he needed. It felt like the opening salvo in what became a much longer, much more personal fight over the next few weeks.
Exactly. It generated buzz for sure, but it didn't quite land with the impact many expected, maybe leaving the momentum, or at least the perceived lyrical high ground, with Kendrick heading into the next round.
So thinking back just on that initial exchange, like that versus Push-Ups, what's the main takeaway for you?
I think it really highlighted their different approaches right from the start. Drake seemed to lean on status, past achievements, personal digs, maybe underestimating Kendrick's pure lyrical firepower or the level of discontent out there.
Yeah.
Whereas Kendrick's first move was just this incredibly direct, confident challenge to the whole power structure. It set a very different, maybe more focused tone for the battle ahead.
Definitely. And you can't help but wonder, like, what if that leaked third verse had been on the official track? That line about Cole still being in the three, the accusation about the old diss, it just adds these what-ifs to the whole thing.
Absolutely, but that's the nature of these public clashes, isn't it? So unpredictable. You never quite know what's strategic, what's reactive, what's real, and what's just noise.
True. And that chaos, watching these personal and professional dramas play out so openly, is probably why we all find it so damn compelling.
It reveals a lot about the pressures and dynamics inside the music industry itself.